return to self-reminder that I'm not out of the clear. And all the nightmares that I suffer while I sleep, you might as well be standing here.
Album 2,
Beside the ones we love.
Palm Reader.
Album 2.
Beside the ones we love.
Palm Reader.
Yes. It's a lot more frantic and a lot darker. It's a lot more mature and a lot more explorative.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I definitely agree with the last point. I think saying it's like more of this and more of that is quite, I hate to be horrible,
It's not the
but
same.
it's a little bit redundant at times, because it's just, I think we've just explored, like you say, like explored different aspects of the music we were already writing. So everything's a little bit more this and a little bit more, we've gone down, if you know what I mean. So I'm kind of agreeing with you but disagreeing with you at the same time.
A little bit further down the road.
Yeah.
A little bit wee, a little bit woo.
It's more this, it's more that, it's just more Palm Reader, basically.
Yeah.
More better.
More better.
More better, and potentially more worse, depending on your opinions.
It's true.
I'm not going to try and sway it, but you should definitely listen to it. Underlying themes of survival and like struggling through and that sort of general theme, I guess. But from different aspects of life, struggling through different aspects of life, I guess.
There's elements of the chaos that comes with dedicating your life and every waking hour to being in a band and writing music for your own personal selfish gratification, because it's not a healthy thing to do.
No, it's incredibly selfish being in a band, but it's like taking on two relationships at once. Like you've got your home thing and actually being in a band where you're basically in a relationship with 4 other guys. So, but trying to explain that to people at home, that you want to spend your entire life traveling around in a van with 4 other guys, playing to potentially no one a lot of the time. Newcastle.
On the flip side of the coin, it does bring joy to tens of people. Tens of people every 2 nights a month.
It sounds like but I don't want to make it sound like we have a crap time being in a band. We don't. Yeah, exactly. It's the insanity behind being in a band. The fact that it drives you so much, but it in some aspects can just be fucking ridiculous and seem pointless.
I think from being in a band, you sort of like become better friends with anyone that you wouldn't do normally, for the most point, because you spend more time with them than you do like even your own girlfriend or like your parents or whatever. You just spend a lot more time with these 4 or how many people are in said band. So you sort of just learn to love them and hate them at the same time, and you wouldn't change it for anything, which is cool and horrible.
Nice to know you hate me, mate.
It's like the relationship you have with people at work. For some reason, the people you work with, you get really chummy with. And as soon as you quit your job, you realise you don't really give a fuck about them. Unfortunately, you can't just... It's not something you can just easily just walk away with and get another job, because you're so heavily invested in it in so many aspects.
So you feel sucked in and trapped. I see. No, it's fine. No?
Every day. Every day is a constant struggle. Yeah. Fuck you.
But yeah, the lyrics are great.
Yeah, the album's more structured in terms of like, what's the word? I guess song structure. Yeah, because like we've got choruses on this one, and bits that repeat themselves, which didn't happen in Bad Weather. And
that shouldn't be a thing for bands to say. Like, we've got choruses.
yeah, well,
There's a lot of bands that say that.
we all know that like we're
Chorus is a
not
dirty word.
not the best at writing like songs that have a structure, because we are like children when it comes to instruments for the most part.
In the location we did in Birmingham, which was an underground rehearsal studio with no lights, and we lived no shower. We lived and breathed and wrote music in one room, and we'd wake up in the morning not knowing what time it was, hoping that it was later than we thought it was, because sometimes we woke up at 7 after going to bed at 3, and then sometimes we woke up at 8 after going to bed
we
at
were
5.
literally like slept. Well, mattresses like strewn around the drum kit and like between cabs and stuff. So it was literally like wake up next to your guitar, in your case, obviously, and then start writing. Like, have a little bit of food and start writing. That was just it. And then we'd go outside, see a possible bit of sunlight, and it was quite a bleak way of writing. So in that sense, it was a low light.
And it rained every fucking day.
Yeah.
So any sunlight that there wasn't really sunlight. It was just a bit of a lighter grey.
I think it's good that this is our biggest low light of the album. Is that it's just where we wrote it.
It wasn't a low light. I was pre-warned by the guys whose lock-up it was that if we went and wrote, it's almost I can quote verbatim. If you write an album in Birmingham, it will be really bleak. And to be fair, it wasn't wrong. It was an awesome experience. We did have quite a few arguments about certain songs like Black Hand, which would just.
It's the longest thing we've ever had to write. Like just trying to. It was more. I think with Black Hand, it was a lot of case of we've got all of these riffs and we really want to use them. Can we just cram them into one song?
And the answer is yes.
Yeah, to a certain extent we can. After we wait to rip each other's throats out.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't as bad.
It was just harder to write that one than it was any other song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the lowlights. It sounds like the lowlights are the struggles that we had whilst writing.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm pretty fucking chuffed with everything.
Oh, it's a fucking corker.
Oh, I like it. Good.
It's on my iPod.
Is it on your iPod?
Unabridged for me personally, listening wise. The last track on the record is very long for us, but it's the most melodic song. Bar Noble Host is the most melodic song we've written in its entirety. Although I prefer playing Stone's Blood live, just because it's a totally different vibe from listening
There's
to
a
it
lot
on
of
record.
highlights on there, though. Yeah. Like unabridged, like all of the songs. All of the songs have particular highlights, but then particular songs jump out as highlights of the album. And this album sticks out as a highlight of our career. So the whole thing's just one big bloody highlight.
Yeah.
My personal highlight would happen to be just the way we went about writing this one, because it started off for the most part with me and Andy in someone's house who neither of us properly lived in. That we just sort of like, I occupied an airing cupboard in that house, and then Andy happened to occupy that same airing cupboard, and then we sort of forced our instruments into that airing cupboard and wrote some songs. And then we brought them to the table, and then that was, we made, we wrote a couple of riffs and then brought it to the other three, and that's how most of the songs came about. And then we went to Birmingham for a week, yeah, 2 separate times.
Summer dates first time around, and then another week before we went to the studio.
Yeah. So like, it was just a better way of doing things because we were all together more so than we were with Bad Weather, writing and each having our own personal inputs instead of in Bad Weather I wasn't part of the songwriting process for about 5 songs, and then some other people weren't a part of it. Yeah, it was just a lot better that we all had our own inputs.
Yeah. If you ever want to write a really bleak record, go and write in Birmingham.
My personal highlight of the album is, in its entirety, the last track. Playing live is the chorus from Stone's Blood, because it's based on a samba beat, which is something I'd never written before, ever. Never thought I'd ever write anything to samba, and it's just fun to throw yourself around in a stupid manner. Just something that you're not isn't your normal go-to.
But there's a couple of tracks that stick out because they are things that we really pushed ourselves on. Styles of writing and just the general outcome of the songs is things that I wouldn't really have expected us to pull out. So yeah, those are my highlights. So there's a song called Travel Past, which is just a guitar and a vocal track. So it's it's just how stripped back it is a big highlight for me. It's nice to be able to say that we can do that as well as be completely full on and ridiculous and play everything all at once.
I've got a bass solo in Stacks, which is cool. Haven't done one of those before. That was really nice. I love Sing Out Survivor as a song. I think it's just when, after the build-up, when it all kind of kicks in, it's just the coolest riff. It's just so cool. Yeah, I just really like the record. Fire is one of my favourite songs. I think it kind of engulfs everything that we do pretty well. Like, if we did have a general direction that we go for, I guess, yeah, for the album, I think Fire sums it up pretty well.
Personal highlight for me in terms of my own instrument would have to be just like the non-conventional drum beats that I was allowed to put in there. Well, not allowed to, but like, yeah. It was just a lot more fun to mess around with my instrument instead of playing the same old boring rubbish that like most drummers in our sort of genre just churn out to try and just finish a song, which is just boring. So it's just like really, oh well, yeah. That's most of it's just really uninspired. So you just like, for the most part, I will put my hands up and say, yeah, I did some of that, but like I did like playing along to my own sort of idea and not including the same old boring drum beats for some parts of the song, which could have not done with that just by itself.
Good.
14 out of 17.
Yes.
It's all right. If you buy it, that would be nice. If you don't,
Please do.
you can listen to it.
Songs.
Thank you.
Songs.